What's up everybody and welcome to my channel. I'm Sam and today we're going to be talking about more haunted places in each state. Today's video is going to be talking about haunted places in Kentucky and also for anybody who has watched any of my other previous ones. We're in another new filming spot. I'm still trying to figure out where I'm filming in this house. Okay, also I'm going to go ahead and apologize for the puppies. I got one here and I got one over here. They're somewhat behaving at the moment, but that will only last so long because they are nosy and they are also puppies and they just feel the need to move a lot for some reason. Previous pups that I've had have been fairly lazy. These two, not so much. Love them to death, but they've got too much energy for me. Please take a nap. Anyways, so back, let's try to stay on. Okay, I'm gonna try and stay on point, on track, something, I don't know. Anyways, okay, haunted places in Kentucky. I have several. I don't remember how many are in this article, but I'll link the article below so that if you want to go back and look at the article yourself, you can. But anyways, these are in no particular order. They're just how the article had them listed. The first place that we're going to talk about is Liberty Hall in Frankfort. John Brown was one of Kentucky's first senators, and in 1796, he built a family home in Frankfort. Many people have lived and died in the home, from slaves to relatives. Today, there are said to be 3 primary spirits that exist in a state of unrest. Sorry. The first and the most famous is Miss Margaret Barrick, I believe is how you say her last name. Also known as the Gray Lady. She is said to have traveled around 800 miles to attend the funeral of a family member, only to succumb to a heart attack after her journey. Initially, she was buried in the garden, but rumors say that her body was later moved. Now, her restless spirit is said to wander the grounds, opening doors and closing doors, and always wearing gray. Also, a Spanish opera performer visited and disappeared mysteriously from the mansion in 1805. His spirit is also said to roam the property along with a figure wearing a soldier's uniform. The young lad is reported to gaze into a ground level window with a forlorn, love-struck expression. Dogs. The next place that we're going to talk about is Kentucky State Penitentiary in Eddyville. Most of us want to see inside of the Kentucky State Penitentiary at 266 Water Street, but the structure itself is phenomenal. It is the oldest prison in the state, built in 1886, and the architecture is not only solid, but also a work of art. The intricately designed building was made to hold prisoners, but many a spirit has also made their home here. Due to its age, one can only imagine the horrific conditions, treatment, and executions that took place within these walls. Modern inmates and guards alike tell tales of strange orbs, footsteps when no one is there, voices, disembodied screams, and other hair-raising experiences. Just because a prisoner's body dies here doesn't mean that their soul is at rest. The next place that we're going to talk about is Camp Taylor in Louisville. I call it Louisville. I don't know if it's Louisville or Louisville. I'm just going to keep calling it Louisville. But Camp Taylor might be the second most haunted neighborhood in the United States. The small community was once a military camp named after General Zachary Taylor. The streets are also named after other generals like Sherman and Lee. During the camp's time as a military site, the tuberculosis epidemic struck Louisville. Camp Taylor was devastated by the disease, and bodies were said to be stacked from floor to ceiling in some of the buildings. Stop poking me. You're such a brat. You're just a spoiled brat. You're such a spoiled brat. Don't fall off the couch. Camp Taylor was devastated by the disease, and bodies were said to be stacked from floor to ceiling in some of the buildings. Stop it. Stop licking the floor. Stop. It's my earring. You tried to eat my earring. Anyways. Ghostly soldiers walk in formations across the fields and streets, and a blonde woman in a blue Victorian-era dress is also known to wander the area. A young girl also roams Taylor Boulevard, along with the soldiers, but her origin is unknown. Okay. There was a lot happening. The next place that we're going to talk about is the old Talbot Tavern in Bardstown. I'm pretty sure I butchered all of that. But anyways. This might be the oldest tavern in Kentucky, built in 1779 at 107 Stephen Foster Avenue. Known as the city of Bardstown, the community had no name when the tavern was constructed. It was a well-known stagecoach stop that has seen many travelers, including Jesse James and a banished king. There are several rooms that hold scars from visits by Jesse James, including one where he was attacked and another where James thought he saw someone in his room and fired his weapon repeatedly, leaving bullet holes in the wall. It is rumored that Spectre was the very first ghost reported at the old Talbot Tavern. Visitors today report hearing strange footsteps and disembodied voices, seeing that apparition of a man and a woman, and doors opening on their own. I got one looking out the window, like standing up on my ottoman, looking out the window and making her nose make noises, like little screechy noises across my window, and I'm gonna have to clean my window because I have nose smudges on it now. Stop touching me. She's just got her hand on my back, just like, hey, see? Do you just have to be touching me? Is that it? As I was saying, this is probably one of the most well-known places in Kentucky. Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville. Even those unfamiliar with Waverly Hills' twisted past can agree that the ominous structure looks creepy even from a distance. The Gothic structure was built in the early 1900s as a tuberculosis hospital, and later a mental hospital and a geriatric center. The death count here was so high that patients were delivered for burial and disposal through a tunnel system deemed the death tunnel. This was done to prevent panic among the residents. A nurse is also known to have hung herself in the bell tower, and her spirit is said to wander the halls of Waverly along with many patients. People who take footage or photos of Waverly often later find floating orbs and distortions in the images. The sanatorium has been featured in many television specials, and a lot of paranormal YouTubers like to go and visit this place as well. The next place that we're going to talk about is another one that's probably very well known for people who are not from Kentucky and into paranormal stuff. Bobby Mackey's Music World in Wilder. Come for the ghosts and stay for the music, proclaims the website for Bobby Mackey's Music World, which stakes its claim as the most haunted nightclub in America. This historic roadhouse gains its paranormal reputation after two Satanists murdered and beheaded a woman named Pearl Bryan in 1897. Her body was found in a field not far from the building. Another legend holds that a pregnant dancer named Joanna poisoned herself here in the 1950s after her father murdered her lover, a singer at the nightclub, by hanging him in a dressing room. Visitors today can book private ghost tours that include Joanna's dressing room. Hey, stop. Visitors today can book private ghost tours that include Joanna's dressing room, the Wall of Faces, Hell's Gate, and other areas where the dead are said to make themselves known. I believe that this part that I'm about to say is not a part of the article. I believe this article is probably a little bit older, but I believe Bobby Mackey's is either under construction or they're like about to like completely tear down the building and start from scratch. So, and I don't know if that's currently happening right now or if it's like later down the road. I know that when I watched some of my paranormal investigation YouTube videos that I watch, that they were some of the last people that were going there before it was either under construction or being torn down. So I'm not really sure. Anyways, the next place that we're going to talk about is Cave Hill Cemetery in Louisville. Hey, please stop leaking. Thank you. Cave Hill Cemetery is the resting place for many famed Kentuckians, including the Frito-Lay magician, Colonel Harlan Sanders, and most recently, Muhammad Ali. It is located at the 701 Baxter Avenue in Louisville and was built back in the 1800s. The grounds are designed in the peak of the Victorian era, to be a garden-style resting place for the deceased upper class and soldiers. It is not uncommon in modern times to hear unexplained sounds and footsteps in the cemetery. There are also a variety of orbs and unexplained lights that appear at night and on film. Ornate tombstones and statues stand guard over the bones but the spirits are still said to wander. Those who have entered the cemetery at night deem it a hub of paranormal activity. Most of these places on this list are in Louisville, so I'm guessing Louisville is the most haunted place in Kentucky, just Louisville. And then the final place that we're going to talk about is Old Louisville in Louisville. During the late 1800s and early 1900s, the Old Louisville neighborhood was the premier community in Kentucky. The area featured beautiful French Revival and Georgian architectural design, many with castle-like turrets and stained glass windows. Some residents loved it so much that they chose to hang around after death, and has visited this neighborhood often over the years, including a TB epidemic that wiped out much of the population and many unexplained tragedies, including fires, mysterious death, and suicides. A high concentration of spirits are said to roam the area today, including men, women, and children who perished during the TB epidemic. In particular, many people report seeing an old woman who turns into a black cat, a man with a cloak and a hat who linger near 6th and Hill, and a dark-haired woman in a Victorian dress. Old Louisville has appeared on the Travel Channel and several paranormal television shows, and is regarded as one of the country's most haunted neighborhoods. So that is all that we have for the state of Kentucky. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment about if maybe you live in Kentucky or if you've visited any of these places or if you'd like to. If this article didn't mention any place that you may have, that you can think of that is haunted in Kentucky. But yeah, make sure that to like, subscribe, share with a friend that you would think would find this interesting. And I will be sure to see you guys hopefully again next week with another haunted places in each state video. But anyways, yeah, so thank you again for watching. I will see you guys next time. Bye.